Coming up on Retiring Well with Michael Reese.
It is not surprising if you have your money in a variable annuity to be paying about 3% a year or more. How are you supposed to make money when you're paying those kinds of fees? So folks, if you have a variable annuity, pick up the phone, give us a call. The IRS says you can only do one rollover every 12 months. How many transfers can you do every 12 months, does the IRS say? You know what they say? Unlimited. Do 100,000 of them, do a million of them. They don't care. You can do an unlimited number of transfers between institutions with your IRAs.
Now, the host of Retiring Well, Michael Reese.
Welcome to the show today. We have 30 minutes of action-packed information specifically designed for you. Retiring Well starts right here, right now.
Retiring Well with Michael Reese, helping you make smart decisions with your money so you can live a better life. Today is the day you can take back control of your money. Retiring Well with Michael Reese, where we believe your best is yet to come.
This week on CFP Talk, we are discussing variable annuities and the fees that come along with variable annuities. Now, in our industry, this is kind of my pet peeve. It drives me crazy how it seems like the financial industry, which, I mean, I love what we do. I love the financial industry. I think we can do so much good for so many people. Yet it drives me crazy how hard the industry seems to work at hiding what they're charging you. I mean, why can't we be transparent? It just boggles my mind. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about variable annuities and the fees that are embedded in a variable annuity contract that you typically do not see. Now, remember here, I'm talking specifically about variable annuities. Fixed annuities typically do not have anything close to these fees, and oftentimes they have no fees. But variable annuities, on the other hand, do. And if you ever read about how annuities are really expensive, if they, you read or you hear about how, wow, annuities, they just cost so much money. This is what they're talking about, the variable annuity grouping of the annuity universe. So let's dig in and see what's going on here. Whenever you have a variable annuity, in essence, what's going on is you are owning a mutual fund portfolio held at an insurance company. So here you've got this mutual fund, a list of mutual funds that you've put your money into, and it's held at an insurance company. It's called a variable annuity. So let's see what kinds of expenses you should expect to pay. First, we have mutual fund fees. Now, if you've watched a show in the past, you know mutual fund fees could be anywhere from 1% to 3%. But let's do this. Let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt. Let's imagine that the fees are cheaper at these variable annuity companies. So let's give them a 1% fee. That's the lower end of the spectrum. The next thing that happens, though, is the insurance companies say, well, wait a minute, we got to make money here, too. We got to charge you something called mortality and expense. Now, what are they charging you for? One of the benefits with putting your money in a mutual fund portfolio at an insurance company inside this variable annuity framework is, let's say you deposit $100,000 and the markets go down to 80. So you go from 100 down to 80,000 and then you die. Well, your beneficiary receives the 100,000 you put in. Whoever gets your money when you die, they get either the amount you deposited or the current value, whichever is the higher number. So there might be, if markets go down, a little bit of, you could almost call it life insurance in these types of accounts. So insurance companies charge. What do they charge? Typically anywhere from 1.25%. And sometimes it's much as 1.65, 1.75. Again, let's assume the low side. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll make it 1.25. Then you have riders. In today's world, almost every variable annuity out there that you would put your money into has riders. Now, what are riders? There might be special death benefit riders. Hey, you die, your beneficiaries get even more money. There might be what are called living benefit riders. These are the most popular. What a living benefit rider does is it says it allows you to take a certain amount of income off of your account for as long as you live. But are these insurance companies going to offer this stuff for free? No, they're making money here. And I got to tell you, this is an area where, it's pretty profitable. So typically these riders, they could be anywhere from 0.5% up to 1.5% a year. There's quite a range. So let's do some math. Let's add up all the fees you're paying. And remember, we're trying to, focus on the low side of these fees. Even on the low side, 1.25%, 0.5%. That's 2.75% a year up to 3.75% if my math is correct here. Yeah, and it is. It is not surprising if you have your money in a variable annuity to be paying about 3% a year or more. How are you supposed to make money when you're paying those kinds of fees? So folks, if you have a variable annuity, pick up the phone, give us a call. We'd love to share with you what are the fees that you're actually paying and what kinds of alternatives do you have instead.
Remember when life was simpler? When things didn't move quite so fast and the world didn't seem so complex? Remember that? We do. And as the world around us has continued to speed up, becoming more complicated and still a bit uncertain, we have managed to keep things simple, providing sound, easy-to-understand financial advice and customized roadmaps for the road ahead, from tax reduction strategies, investment advice, and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, backed by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. We can be your single point of contact, a single call, a voice you recognize well, and a partner who can be by your side for the entire journey. We can't stop the world around us, but we can help ensure you're prepared for what's to come. To schedule a no-obligation meeting, simply contact us today.
Hi, I'm Michael Reese, and I'd like to invite you and a guest to a complimentary evening of food, fun, and information at our next upcoming financial event. At this event, we're going to talk about topics that affect your money and your retirement planning. Topics include the 3 critical steps that you absolutely need to take to enjoy a secure retirement. We take a look at volatility versus returns. Which is more important for you and your money? Taxes. Nobody likes them, but what are you doing about your biggest tax liability? We're going to talk about these topics and much more. I want you just to call the number on the screen, bring you and a guest. We're going to have a great time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Remember, you only want to retire once. Let's make sure you do it right.
Welcome back to another edition of True or False with Mike. Mike, are you ready for this week's questions?
Craig, I am armed and ready. Fire away.
You're always ready. Investing before retirement is very similar to investing after retirement. True or false?
True or false? Investing after is very similar to investing before? Okay, that one I've got to say is a false, because as you know, when you're investing before retirement, you are adding money to the pot. So it's kind of like you're in a sailboat out on the lake or out on the ocean or somewhere, and you've got the winds behind you. So when you add money to a portfolio, it's like the wind's behind you. Everything's going your way. Even if there are some waves out there or market conditions aren't good, you still have the wind behind you. So adding money, it makes it all easier. Everything is simpler, and all you're trying to do is grow. However, the instant you retire, suddenly the wind changes, right? It's like the wind changed, because now instead of adding money to the portfolio, what are we doing? We're typically taking money out. So instead of putting money in, we're pulling money out. Suddenly, it's like the wind's in our face, right? The wind's in our face, and now we're like, oh my gosh, we still want to get from point A to B, but we can't just do it in a straight line. Now we've got to kind of go this way and that way and the other way. And the reality is this. I mean, folks, think about this. Think about this. When you're working before retirement, what are you trying to do? You're just trying to grow the portfolio. You're just trying to make it bigger, right? But what happens when you retire? You know, when you retire, you're going to want to change. Your goals change. It's like my dad. When my dad retired, he came to me. He said, hey, Mike, look, here's my 401k. Here's what I want you to do. Protect my principal. Give me some income. And if you can, grow it a little bit. Well, guess what, folks? If you want to protect your principal, take some income, and maybe even still grow it a little bit, that requires a lot of different strategies. It's not the same thing as just saying, all right, let's add some money to this account and let's try to make it grow. Very different scenarios, very different strategies are required, and very different types of investments are used. Biggest problem people make in retirement, they don't make that shift. Right? They just keep doing what they've been doing. They don't make that shift, and it can get them into trouble.
Right, it's a quantum shift. It's a change in life and a change in style.
Yeah, it's not the same thing.
All right, next, true or false? Your IRA will not likely create a big tax problem for you later on when you retire.
Will not likely or will likely?
Question is, will not likely.
Will not likely. Okay, got to make sure I heard that properly. So if the question was, your IRA will likely cause a problem down the road, then that would be true. But you said not likely was a question. He's trying to trick me up, people. Do you see what's going on here? He's trying to trip me up. If the way it's worded, then that's false. Basically, what we're trying to say here is, or the way the question's worded, very sneaky, Craig. Yeah. IRAs, it's all money. And by the way, when we talk about IRAs, you know, we're really talking about what? IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, you know, all those qualified retirement plans. It's all a bunch of money and it's never been taxed. It's never been taxed. And so what happens is when you hit retirement and you start pulling it out, now here come all the taxes. And this is, man, as you're watching at home, this is the worst part about it. It's not just taxes on the money you pull out of those accounts, right? Because not only do you pay tax on the distribution, a lot of times you end up paying more tax on your Social Security income.
Medicare too.
As a result, right? Medicare premiums go up sometimes, or like the prescription drug, right? The Part D.
Pretty much any government entitlement is going to be.
It's either taxed at a higher rate or they charge you more, right? It's means testing. So the problem is you're pulling the money later on out of these accounts. Oh my goodness, more tax on what you pull out, more tax on Social Security, all these government entitlement programs you're paying more for. Oh my, it can be a real problem. And oh my goodness, for a surviving spouse, you think taxes are bad while you're both married, just wait until one of you dies. It gets even worse. So yeah, IRAs, 401ks, they cause big problems with taxes later on.
All right, well, thank you, Mike. That's it for this week. If you've got any questions about these topics or any topic, always feel free to give us a call and we'll help you figure it out.
Hi, I'm Michael Reese, and I'd like to invite you and a guest to a complimentary evening of food, fun, and information at our next upcoming financial event. At this event, we're going to talk about topics that affect your money and your retirement planning. Topics include the 3 critical steps that you absolutely need to take to enjoy a secure retirement. We take a look at volatility versus returns. Which is more important for you and your money? Taxes. Nobody likes them, but what are you doing about your biggest tax liability? We're going to talk about these topics and much more. I want you just to call the number on the screen, bring you and a guest. We're going to have a great time, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Remember, you only want to retire once. Let's make sure you do it right. This week in IRA Focus, we want to talk about how do you avoid making mistakes when you're doing a 60-day rollover. So what in the world am I talking about? You may be sitting there, you may be thinking, 60-day rollover? What the heck is that? Well, a 60-day rollover is simply this. Let's say you have an IRA out there and you want to move that IRA from institution A and move it over here to institution B. You can do it's called a rollover. And the rollover rules are you withdraw the money, you get a check from institution 1, or A, I guess we said, and then you have 60 days to bring it over and deposit it at institution B. That's a 60-day rollover. Now, where do we get in trouble here? Well, obviously, you can get in trouble if you don't get it there within 60 days. And there are all kinds of crazy rules that can happen. I mean, if you don't get it there in 60 days, crazy stuff starts happening, your IRA is cashed in, it's ugly. We see this happen in two situations. So number one, we often see it with 401ks, where you have a 401k, you want to move your 401k to an IRA, so you do a rollover. And you get a check, you've got 60 days to put to the new IRA. What if you're on vacation? What if you get the check and then you go on vacation, you kind of forget about it, and the check just sits on your desk for a while? I know it seems strange. It happens. When's the other time we see this problem? The second time is, let's say you have an IRA at a bank, like in a CD, and you're saying, okay, I've got this IRA at Bank A, and you know, the new CD rates are crummy. I want to move over here to Bank B. So you do a 60-day rollover. Bank A gives you a check. Bank B, you know, and you bring it over to Bank B. Now, let me share with you the number one big-time problem, what you have to watch out for here, and it's simply this. The IRS has ruled that you can only do one rollover, one of those 60-day rollovers, in any 12-month period. So what if you have 3 different IRAs? What do? You want to roll over all 3 in 1 year? You can't do it. You can't do it. You can only do one. So how do you fix that problem? So, by the way, I want to bring something to your attention. What I have right here, this is a book called Everything You Need to Know About an IRA, Your IRA in 5 Easy Steps. This is a book that we've put together. It is a resource of a number of articles from Ed Slott, you know, one of the country's biggest IRA experts. We've put it together for you. You know, if you happen to call us, you come in and visit with us, we'll give you a copy of this for free. But anyway, they have a section in here. One of the chapters right here on page 11 says, avoiding 60-day rollover mistakes. It gives you 5 steps. How do you avoid these things? I'm going to give you one of those steps. Here is the easiest thing in the world to do. Here's what it is. Don't do a rollover. Do a transfer. So what am I talking about? So a rollover means you get the money. You get the money. You go to the bank. You go to your institution. You say, send me the check. I'll take the check. And the check is written in your name. And then you physically bring that check to the next institution. That's a rollover. Well, don't do that. Instead, do a transfer. What is a transfer? You just send a form to institution A. Let's say it's Fidelity. Send a form to Fidelity. Say, hey, Fidelity, move my money directly over to, I don't know, Vanguard. I don't want to touch the money. You just go straight from Fidelity. Just send the money straight over there to Vanguard. Don't even include me in the mix. Just send it over there. Here's my account number at Vanguard. Send it directly for me. These big institutions do that all the time. They're constantly sending money back and forth. Here's a cool thing. The IRS says you can only do one rollover every 12 months. How many transfers can you do every 12 months, does the IRS say? You know what they say? Unlimited. Do 100,000 of them, do 1 million of them. They don't care. You can do an unlimited number of transfers between institutions with your IRAs. So you want to avoid a 60-day rollover trap? Don't do the rollover, do a transfer instead. Now there are other things that this book will tell you can do, but there you go. That's a simple solution right there. Now remember, if you have any questions about this or anything else we talk about on the show, please feel free, pick up the phone, give us a call. We will help you out.
When you have confidence in your retirement future, you can live the life you've always imagined. Because of planning, you now have time to reflect on the wonderful memories of your life. You and your spouse finally have the luxury of leisure time together. To spend fun times with your grandkids, sharing the joy of their excitement about life. Smiling at the thought of quality time with your children and of picking up the check. At last, you have time to breathe and rekindle the love of your life. Why? Because you imagined what could be. You planned for retirement. So today, you own your future.
One of the biggest mistakes we see people making all the time when they come to our office is they don't have a clearly defined retirement plan. And the reason's pretty simple. It's pretty rare that someone like yourself has the opportunity to sit down with an independent financial advisor who truly specializes in retirement planning. Someone that makes sure that you can get through retirement safely and securely. Well, if you don't have a clearly defined retirement plan and you want one, well, all you have to do is give us a call. We have a special offer for the first 5 people that call. As long as you have at least $250,000 saved for your retirement, we will provide for you, free of charge, no obligation, a complete retirement review. In this review, we're going to help you take a look at your investments and the risk you're taking, the fees you pay in your portfolio, maybe even some tax planning will help you have an integrated, clearly defined retirement plan. Free, no obligation, be one of the first 5 callers. Make sure you call now. We'll see you when you stop in.
Welcome to this week's Coffee Talk with Mike. My name is James Curry. We've got some great questions as people prepare themselves for retirement. Are you ready, Mike?
I am ready, willing, and able.
Excellent. So our first question is from Mark in Westlake, and he asks, is it a good idea to pay off your home before retirement?
Ooh, that's a good one. As you know, I mean, we do a lot of planning here for folks with their retirement. You do a lot of the, a lot of the heavy lifting there. And I tell you what do you think, James, when somebody has their home paid off in retirement, how does that help them? I mean, don't you find that that helps them quite a bit with their planning?
It definitely gives people a lot more flexibility to have lower expenses overall.
It's a big deal, right? If you're paying a couple $1,000s a month in a house payment, or $1,500, a couple thousand, whatever it is, if you enter retirement and that payment is gone, your home is free and clear. I mean, sure, you still have property taxes, but for the most part, that big monthly payment, that's gone. So that definitely frees you up quite a bit, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing, so as a result, we tell folks all the time, and by the way, at home, I want you to pay attention to this. It's very common that we will tell people as they near retirement, if your house is almost paid off, it's actually better a lot of times to stop putting additional money in your 401k towards, when you're nearing retirement, and instead redirect those extra monies to make sure that that house is paid off as you enter retirement, or at least get it paid off if it's at all possible within a couple of years of entering into retirement. I think it's a really big benefit if you can have it all paid off. Now, on the other hand, there are some people where they still have a mortgage. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it certainly does add stress to your retirement income needs, right?
Absolutely. Let's see, and our next question is from Christina in Austin, and she asks, I would like to set aside money for my grandchildren's college. What is the best way to do this?
Ooh, that's a really, we get that. That's a good question. We get it all the time. She has grandchildren for college,
yeah.
right? Now, I'll tell you what, and it's Christina, is that her name?
Christina,
Yeah, so Christina, if you're watching, let me tell you what not to do, all right? First of all, whatever you do, do not put any money in your grandchildren's name. Now, if you're at home and you're thinking of doing the same thing, trying to do set aside money for your grandchildren's college, do not put money in their name, because when it comes time for financial aid, you know, the way it works, right, James, is the first thing they do is whatever that child has in their name, it's like, that's all gone. And it counts against them worse than anything else. The next thing they look at is what's in the parent's name. Also counts against the children pretty bad. So, Christina, if you're at home, you're watching this, here's what I want you to do. I want you to open up something called a 529 plan. That's a special type of college savings plan. Open up a 529 plan. What I want you to do, though, is keep it in your name. So put it in your name, because when your grandchild goes for financial aid, whatever is in your name as a grandparent doesn't show up anywhere. So it does not count against your grandchildren. So put the account in your name, and then you'll name a beneficiary of that account. So the beneficiary will be your grandchild. What's really neat about these 529 plans, James, is, as you know, is you don't, what if the grandchild doesn't go to college, right? What happens then? Well, you can take that money and move it to a different grandchild's name. So you can still use it for college, and if you use it for college, it is completely tax-free. It's like a Roth IRA. Now, on the other hand, what if the grandchild doesn't go to college and you want that money to go to the grandchild anyway? Well, they can still cash it out. They'll pay tax at the grandchild's rate, and that's fine. But the key is this: keep it out of the grandchild's name. Now, as an aside, sometimes properly designed life insurance plans can also work pretty well here, but you want to be very, very careful when you do something like that, because there can be expenses, and you know that can work really well or really not so well depending on how it's structured.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for the great questions this week, and if you'd like to have your questions answered, please give our office a call or visit the website.
Thanks everyone for watching the show today. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to call our office or visit our website. And remember, you only retire once, so let's get it right the first time. We'll see you next week.